here. I'm here to do another Top 10 Tuesday for you guys, and the theme this week was books you are avoiding reading. And this book is this question is kind of easy, but also kind of not easy. Like, I really enjoy all the books that are on my shelves, but the one thing that becomes a small issue for me, especially when I go back to school, is just the physical length of the books because they're so big sometimes. So some of these books in this pile are very long, or the series are just really, really long. And I have a hard time diving back into those longer series, especially if I haven't read the previous books. So let's dive into this. The top 10 books that I have avoided reading. Oh, one that I actually did start reading is Priory of the Orange Tree, and it's over there, but that's not on this list, but that's just a really, really massive book that I'm really enjoying. I just need to give myself the time to read it. So that's another book that's not technically on this TBR, but it's totally included. The next one is Hunting Prince Dracula, and this is kind of a twofold because it's been a hot minute since I read the first one, so I really don't remember what happened. And I know people weren't the biggest, I forgot which one, but so this I actually am really going to try to read this fall because it seems like the perfect creepy read. But it is a book that I have put off reading, and I always say, oh, I'm going to read that in the fall, and then I forget to read it in the fall, and then I'm not motivated to read it any other time of the year. So this is one book that I really am going to try my hardest to read this fall. And then the next book that I'm going to talk about is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, and this is only part one of that book. Only part one. These books are massive, and I don't read high fantasy a lot, but my friend Sarah got this for me for my birthday last year, and I really just want to read it. This book is like one I could definitely take on a train with me to go to school because it's not that big, but I know that it's a very, very complicated world with a lot of complicated world building. I know that the series is going to be like 9 books. But Reagan from Peruse Project has read them all, and she really likes them, so I'm hopeful that her passion will be similar in me. So this is another book that I have avoided reading just because the breadth of the series and the largeness of the books, and this is only half of the book. So take that. These books are like massive. The next series is just a really, really long series, but it's by one of my favorite authors, and that's the Demon King series by Cinda Williams-Chima. And this book has 5 books. Its sequel series has 5 books. It was just a very, very long series, and I had this impressive plan last year to read all of her canonical works, and it kind of got away from me a little bit. But I really do want to dive into this series, and I hope to put it on my TBR this fall. Another book that is included in this is Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer. I had lukewarm feelings to Renegades, but I did like it, so I'm really hopeful that I'll be motivated to read this, hopefully soon. And I know she might be at New York City Comic Con this fall, so maybe I can get Supernova signed. So I don't know, but I have heard mixed things about the second book, so that may be why I put it off. But I did wait online to get it at New York City Comic Con, so hopefully I decide to pick it up soon. The next book is another not massive, but longer one, and that's We Hunt the Flame by Hezis Fazell. I know people have told me that this has a little bit of a slow start, and I really struggle with those type of books during the school year because I need something that's quick and fast. But I really do want to start reading this. I was going to read it for Owl Create-a-thon, and then I just never want to participate in Owl Create-a-thon. But I really would like to read this, so hopefully I'll read it soon. And it is on my immediate TBR, so it will get read faster. I just don't know when. Another book that is kind of in the same thing is The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. I've heard the same thing. It's a very high fantasy series that has a lot of complicated world buildings that sometimes makes it to be just a little bit harder to understand or follow. So I'm hopeful that once I read it, I will like it. And I have an arc of the second book somewhere in my room. So yeah, hopefully I enjoy this once I get to read it. The next one is another fantasy, and it's Reign the Earth by A.C. Goggin, and I have book 2 as well, so I really have no excuse not to read it. But it's just another fantasy book that has a little bit of a longer one and has a high fantasy world building that I can sometimes get a little bit lost in. The next one is A Heart So Fierce and Broken. This one is just longer, and I really do want to read it, and I really am excited for the point of view. It doesn't come out until January, so I have plenty of time to read it. I'm just hopeful that I'll be motivated to read it. And then the next one is Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. I don't read historical fiction books a lot, but I've been trying to get into them more. And this is just the first one that caught my eye at BookCon when I was there, BEA actually. I don't know what this is about. I know it's about in the Spain in 1957. And this is the one that has been the bane of my existence, or the series that has been the bane of my existence since it came out. And that is the Dark Artifices series by Cassandra Clare. I am about 3 hours into this audiobook. This book is on its own, is about 700 pages. That's a big book, and that's the same exact thing with the Throne of Glass series, which I thankfully I wound up listening to with the Time Warp YA Book Club. But the books are massive, so it's hard for me to take this anywhere. So, and I actually do really like listening to the audiobooks, but it's just not how I was expecting to read them. But I actually am making progress on this, and maybe I'll take some of more of these longer books and I'll just tackle them in an audiobook fashion. I don't know. But those are the books that I have been avoided reading for nothing other than mostly than this length of the personal book or just the length of the series. So let me know in the comments if there are some books that you have avoided reading. I would love to hear your thoughts and comments. And I'll talk to you guys later for another update.